Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
To approval of the expenditures, prepaid checks. Sorry, this is bigger. 74384 to 74390, totaling $14,678.13. And now the February warrants and checks number 74391 to 74466, totaling $373,073.
Next rule.
Thank you. Terry, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
We have approval of the financial reports, prepaids and gig warning summary sheets. The budget report. And the income report. I actually have a question on the income report. Down in the little box. There's money from the Saratoga County IBA.
Yes. That is pilot.
Oh. Okay. Thank you. Another question? If not.
Report notes a donation. Is that from John Dickens? In the notes. Oh, that's it, it's friends of the library. I just wondered where that shows up. In the spreadsheet.
It should be in the donations as part of that $105.
Okay.
Why is there listed it says January 9th, it looks like the money from the school district. It's listed in the notes.
I always do that. I always just put when it comes in, that in the run. From the front.
It's a different number than the,
Yep, because the pilot money is also,
Right, so
the pilot money is folded into the Board of Ed taxes?
well, it's put in, yeah, it's put in the taxes.
Yeah,
line.
because it's
Yeah,
payment in lieu of taxes.
correct. And this year, for some reason, they sent us 2 checks for pilot. They separated out, when they separated out.
okay.
It's just a handful of, but for some reason, there was one of the agreements that they separated out from, sent us a separate check for.
Maybe it came from a different company or,
Yeah, and usually what happens is that the IDA sends the bills out to the people for whom they have the tax abatements. And there was some confusion this year because they apparently had sent out a bill to UPH, which is totally abated, but they charged them some taxes and that they thought that they had sent us, they had included the payment that UPH had paid into a payment did, but that never happened. So it was very confusing. So there was that, but then for some reason, there was one entity that they sent us a separate check from all of the others. So they usually just send us one check that they brought there, but.
Any other questions? People? Reports?
Sure.
It's on the 3 of us. I know. President's report. I just wanted to let everybody know, check your library emailed a couple of days that Ken Boland, executive director of SALS, had sent out a survey to library trustees. They're looking to get some feedback on what the needs of the libraries are. Katie had emailed some insight earlier today. Yeah, but
When did she sent this out?
last week.
I don't think I got it.
Okay, I can forward.
To the Saratoga Springs email? Library? Yeah, I don't think
It's
I
in the
got it.
library mail, but did it come right from her or did it get forwarded?
No, it came from Kim.
Came right from Kim.
I'll double check, but
If you
I'll let
don't
you
have it,
know
let
if
me
they
know.
don't.
And obviously if you have questions, that's what you're asking. When I talked to Jean today, we were talking a little bit about continuing ed. There is a freedom of information law training on Wednesday through each academy, and there are links on the SALS Board of Trustees webpage. If anybody wants to get a head start on this year's requirements. And they have updated that page, so there's additional links. Oh, I'm sorry, the 11th is library trustees and advocacy. Tomorrow is, but there's, specific things. So if something strikes your fancy. Oh, I could.
On the cell survey, I started doing that, but I got discouraged because it starts with all kinds of statistical questions like how many people are in the district, total holdings and things like that, or do we need to?
No, you would,
Trustees,
yeah,
is it
I
okay
think,
if we leave
yeah, I
those
think you
blank?
could skip all of those questions. It's curious that and I haven't opened the survey yet myself, so it's curious that she would ask that.
It's robust.
Of everybody.
I wonder
But
if
she-
she's trying to correlate certain needs with a particular size of
Yeah.
library.
Yeah,
So that's why it's, so that when she puts that together, that she can see.
There will be partial credit.
At some point, it does break off too, to see if you're like library staff or not.
Oh,
I did do the whole thing, so there was one question that if you either end your survey or you are asked a completely different set of questions than I had.
public comment.
we don't have any public comment, but we do have a guest. Colleen is here from the Leadership Saratoga program observing the board meeting. today.
Hi. Thanks for that. Correspondence and communication.
We don't have any official correspondence and communication, but I can tell you that I've recently had a number of phone calls. A couple of them like really heaping praise on the staff at the computer clerk desk upstairs, really. A couple of them, one I was able to sit, a person left a voicemail, I was able to share that with the whole staff that went on and on and on about how terrific that service was. And then another person, we played phone tag for a while, which is not often, or sometimes not a great sign when someone's trying to hunt you down to make sure that you get the phone call. But it was really to talk about the staff at that desk, particularly about how.
Nice.
Recreation.
Right, so. So our elevator, as you know, has been, we were so proud, it was ahead of schedule and under budget, and it works most of the time now, so. But we were able to pinpoint the problem to it's a pencil switch, is that what it's called? Rick?
Pencil sense.
The pencil, so a little teeny tiny sensor that apparently is prone to breakage, and it's not just us, it's a widespread problem with this particular elevator. So we have some spare parts that will still, if it breaks again, we'll still need to call somebody to install them, but we won't need to do the great hunt for this particular part until I don't know if it's a recall situation, but they're aware that it's a widespread situation. A more permanent solution to that problem. And as of this morning, Rick, do you have news about HVAC units?
Oh.
The unit that's in the front of stage in the community room is working. The second unit that's up in the tower, the one they quoted the 85 grand for, if we had to replace it. That has a program / sensor issue that we're gonna have to have one of their specialists in it. But the mechanical part seemed to be right. It's just that we can't make it do what we would like.
So we're inching toward conclusion of this project that we've been working on for months now, several months. Also included in the packet, the thing that we've been talking about when we look at a master plan for the space in this building is the Saratoga room. We did get a study commission. We got a grant from the documentary history program for New York State. They sent us a report, which we have not had nearly enough time to digest yet. So we don't have any real views or recommendations from yet, but I just wanted to share it with you so you can see it. It does give some space recommendations as well as some recommendations for care of the collection and some environmental considerations. And one of the things that it does talk about, and Rick has been working on, and we just got a piece of equipment today, is that the humidity level in the room should be a little bit more controlled than it is now, and maybe something that we would address in a construction project if we were to do one for that space. Right now, the solution has been to buy a humidifier, which arrived today. Put that into service. Post haste, very much.
With the cold, as you know, it's dry everywhere. We can't even. The house up 25% humidity.
And this report is also a tool for us in terms of looking at grant opportunities, correct? Like it'll give us more points on grant because we that sort of like the climate action plan that the city has, it sort of positions you in a better place for funding.
Absolutely.
So,
Farm to library, we anticipate within the next couple of weeks, or maybe beginning of March, that we will be a site for the farm to library program, which is Comfort Food Community in Greenwich it distributes food. It started with gleaned food from Washington County farms and libraries in that area. Now it's a year-round program that includes food from those farms, but also from the regional food bank. They have a route they'll distribute to, it'll just go into a refrigerator or on a shelf at the Henry Street foyer with no requirements for taking it. It'll just be there until it's gone. We'll get on a weekly route with so we'll have some fresh veggies and maybe some shelf stable to distribute as well. And they got a grant from Goya Foundation to get this off the ground to add 3 more libraries in Saratoga County. Which means that because it's a Goya grant and not a federal grant, they can't actually distribute anything that's grown with USDA funds. So we won't be getting bags of dried beans from USDA program, we'll be getting other things. So no surplus commodities really that are from USDA. They do try to distribute things that a meal could be made of. So they follow the plate model or the pyramid model or whatever it is in place at the moment when they're picking food from their pantry to send out to the library. And what they would ask of us is that we do keep some kind of data, but it's just all based on what we notice. So we'll know what food came and what food went, so we'll have that data, but in terms of who's taking the food, they do some demographic data, but it will all be self-reported or it will be observational. We won't be asking anybody. So there won't be somebody there stopping. There won't be any gatekeepers. And the Friends did work with the Crescenti, who had a big Snapple fridge that they were using in the coffee shop. When they spec'd out for the grant, part of the grant was to buy a refrigerator. What they spec'd was exactly this Snapple fridge, Di Crescenti has agreed to give it to the Friends permanently, so the Friends can pass it on to us as a gift to use. And it's
Great. And all of the food comes through Comfort Food Community. And
Yes,
it's
yeah,
not-
and-
It's not like the three fridges, it's a different.
Exactly, right, it will all come from them. And like I say, we'll get on a route, so probably Wednesdays, starting like Wednesday afternoons. So Gina and I have been going out there, and Rebecca Robinson from Health Services will be the main contact, because there may be a programmatic element to this, because when during this time of year, when they're sending foods that you might run out of ideas of what to do with, they send along recipes, if there's something unusual, so they're who may be working with Cornell Cooperative Extension to do cooking programs, how to use squash a million ways, for example. So could be a good partnership all the way around, providing this resource as well as the information. And Advocacy Day, there were 9 of us who went down for Advocacy Day, including our 2 interns. And I don't know if we'll talk more about them when the time comes, that if Jamie had their report, but we do have 2 interns from the social work program at Skidmore College who are here, and we were already seeing some results from having them here. I mean, what they're able to do, they kind of bridge that divide when we reach a point in providing information services, when it stops, when it enters into that social work realm with a lot of personal information and guides through the maze of social service programs, and really devoting a lot of time to sitting down with people as they fill out paperwork for disability or for housing, social security. It's been great having them.
Will there be like any way to measure like how often it's used, like?
Probably it is sort of an experiment for us now to
Yeah.
have them here. It's the first time that they're here. I'm sure at the end of their semester or their time here, they'll have some reporting there. We do now know anecdotally, just from what we observe, we know some of the people that we've kind of handed off to them. And they've got a presence. They're here every single day that the library is open. And we see them working with people every day in the library. So
Do you have any questions for I?
Hi. So, since we last met, I feel like a couple weeks ago, but I know it was longer than that. We had an opportunity to have an all-staff meeting, in which we presented the space and usage stuff, data collection that we're about to do, and we received some really good feedback from the staff. And so we have decided to start capturing data for a full year, starting, I believe, next week. So just 1 week out of every year. We chose the 3rd week of every month, so it kind of randomizes it, capture something out of that. So that is ready to go, and so we'll have some preliminary data, even it won't be useful data, but we'll have some in a more timely fashion as well and more consistent. And then the New York State annual report, Jamie and I are going to the SAL's report party on Friday. The staff at SAL's have seen the new software, get an introduction to it. I have yet to do it, so Friday will be when I get to do that. And what the board needs to know, Eric, is that the report will be due shortly after our next meeting, so it'll be great if we can, we'll have to approve it in order for us to submit it. So our goal is to have it for the next board meeting.
Nothing specific to pull out really, just some of the things we're working on. Maybe I'll mention that Brendan's been working on, accessibility updates to our website, staff site, to a lot of the different things that we host the website for Saratoga Reads. So all those things need to be made accessible by April at some point this year, or to the best of our ability. They've been doing it, holding classes and things for staff as a training to just get a better sense of why we need to do this, and a few of the items that they can do to keep stuff that we post to the internet accessible to as many people as we can. So just as a side example of what isn't accessible is every single board form we've ever uploaded. They're readable by software, but a lot of the headers and images and things like that don't translate into the reader at all. And so while people can hear the text going around, they're getting lost because they're not sure, what section they're in, whose board report it is, that sort of thing. So where they can hear you can get the gist of what people are talking about, it could be better. So we're working on that.
And, I'm sorry, I'm still talking.
No, also.
Can I ask about the keyboards that go out with the search computers?
Keyboards that go
The
where?
keyboards that are out with the computers where you search your books.
Oh, the packs.
The
Yes,
keyboards
sure.
are often hard to see the alphabet.
Oh, is that what you're talking about, brother? Okay,
So
yeah.
how does that, I mean, I don't know, you might just want to somebody take a look. Do people complain or bring anything forward?
You know what, we don't hear about it often, but I know exactly what you mean, because I'm still trying to remember my.
And it's probably
my
just me.
QWERTY training from high school typing.
Right, exactly. The rest of the people probably all have it memorized, the keyboard, I just don't have. a keyboard.
Yeah, we have a few spares, so I'll hunt down
So I
tablets
would
and
take a look, the one out here in particular, but maybe the rest too.
I'll have a look, thank you.
And can I just go back, I think, was it on your report about 53 Phyllis Street?
No, that wasn't on anybody's report, but,
Where did I see that?
there was an email from
Yes.
Katie.
All right, sorry.
Anybody have more questions for Don? Oh, Trevor.
So the one thing that I really wanted to pull out and highlight here is, if you haven't seen it yet, I would be happy to unlock the door and show you. It is the new literacy lab next door in the former cafe space, which was the former Friends Bookshop, which was called formerly the Book Bag Shop. So it has been in this constantly evolving, changing space. It is currently the room that is Marianne Rockwell's sort of domain, where classes are being held. Some tutoring is also occurring in the room. And I was looking back at my calendar at when I started, started making some notes of rumblings that, we're going to be going into this room, changing things and whatnot. And I think in under 2 weeks, between everybody coming together like the Tasmanian devil in this whirlwind, I mean, between Ops and Don and then Ike and Rick constantly going in and out and Marianne going in and things, a tremendous amount of work got done in an extremely short amount of time. And then the turnaround from, kind of saying, okay, we're done with the work. And then I felt like that was maybe a Friday afternoon. And I think the following Tuesday, Marianne was in there working. And I was surprised because just the amount of stuff, 'cause we're moving items from the meeting rooms downstairs that she'd squirreled away some literacy items so she wasn't having to carry things up and down stairs. And items that came from the tutoring room down by the teen room. And so I remember Friday at one point I was in there and I just saw like mounds of stuff, and I see that color drains from my face, and I see, we're never getting out of this. And yeah, by like that following Tuesday, I mean, it was,
Great.
yeah, it was open and it was cool, and it was really wonderful seeing everyone come together and just, I mean. I think too, people were generally having fun. I know I was involved in this, it was in Don's report about the guys hanging the 75-inch screen TV in there. And, it was almost like a little work party, like a, 21st century barn racing, except for it was a big old TV that we were racing. So, no, the vibe was very, very cool. We went to work on it, it was wonderful. Marion is settling into the space, as are her students, got some plants and some succulents donated to them by Hewitt's, trying to make it a little homier. And so I'm just overwhelmed and impressed and very pleased. So thank you to everybody. And like I said, if you want to take a peek afterwards, we'll go next door and do that. So aside from that, anybody have any other questions?
Is that is not, it's not open all the time then? It's open when
Right.
there are services being provided?
Correct. It's not a publicly bookable room.
Okay.
So it's open and available when classes are in session. All right, well, thank you.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say two things for about our group. Today is our second Saratoga Reach Day Year discussion. And then not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the 21st is our celebration. And everyone's invited. You're more than welcome to come in if you didn't read the book. Kate and Catherine always do like some fun activities for the kids. They'll have cupcakes. So everyone, it's, since we do the discussions version, we need to make it more accessible. We have this one celebration in person. And since it's Catherine's last year, we plan to hand her commendation. So if anyone happens to be free, it's next Saturday at 3, no pressure. But you know how to find. So the only other thing I wanted to mention is, I think I mentioned a lot in the winter that we do a lot of collections work. And I didn't know if anybody was interested in hearing more about that. When we talk about like how we spend our time, my department tends to be very busy. We're very similar to the school district schedule, right? When they are off, we're busy. And when they're in school, the preschoolers are here. So we tend to have this very like predictable busyness. So what we do when things are going to be predictably slower is we work on bigger collections projects. So one thing that our whole department has been doing the last couple of years is really deeply evaluating the nonfiction collection. We started by running reports of how many books we had that were from the last century, not like 5 years ago, but like 25 years ago, which for a science book is no bueno. So that's a project that we've been working on, and our goal is to touch every book, and we have thousands. So when you think about, like, when I say, oh, we're working on this, it's not just like, oh, someone spent a few minutes, like this is an ongoing, when it's slow, maybe at night, or, lunchtime when the kids are napping, this is what we're doing. So this year, I always kind of think about it like a New Year's resolution, and I task them with like a goal. So one of the things that we're gonna work on this year is our cataloging, because like a personal pet peeve of mine is like historical trains are in the 300s, but current trains are in the 600s. And what 4-year-old cares? So 4-year-old wants choo-choo. So one of the projects I asked them to work on this year is going to be evaluating for our browser, right? We know what's correct in terms of cataloging, but we're very concerned with how people browse our collection, and why are the killer whales? Why is this one? We're just trying to find all the things and tighten things up and really think about how do people use it. So this is kind of how we spend winter, so to speak, except for next week, which is breaking. If anybody is ever interested in this kind of stuff, I love my job. I love to talk about it. So give me a call or come visit. But when I put those, like, I feel like it's like a throwaway sentence when I'm like, oh, we're working on the nonfiction. Like, I don't know if you realize, like, it's a huge amount of work. Like, they really invest time in looking at every item and running reports and comparing things and trying to see, can I find a better version of this and a newer version and something that kids want to read? It's a lot. So I'm really proud of the work.
And is there, a lot of programming then for, school vacation, right?
We do, we try to make sure we have something just about every day when there's no school. There are some days we might even have too much, I don't know. But we tend to be very, very, February break tends to be one of the big ones. April, depending on the weather, if it's really beautiful and people are like, we can finally go to the park, we might, April break might be a little less, but if it's snowy April, we're gonna have a lot.
Anybody else have questions?
Thank you, though. I appreciate your explanation.
It's really fun if you like that kind of thing. Right, doesn't it bother you when you're like scanning like Italian cookbooks and if one of them's like somewhere like 2 shelves down, it's the one you want?
How does that happen? Is it just because somebody decided they live in a different 2 decimal number because it's, historical trains and not modern trains?
Yeah, and I mean, if someone else cataloged it that way at another library and we copied them and that's why like our staff try to look at everything as it comes in, but you know, it's thousands of books, but yeah. Put all the house cats together. Hi. I'm fine.
Great. Um, Everybody has a little bit of read to recovery.
I was gonna say, she did a lovely presentation on that with all the staff, so if you get a chance to look through the numbers.
Really, I was kind of blown away. Thinking of how much has happened, it's just short.
To me, I think the most astounding part of that was that we distribute more Narcan than any other place in the county.
Wow.
I don't know, is it in all of the libraries in the county or just?
I think all the libraries have it, but not, they don't have Barney. Barney is this purple thing that's
Yes.
at the end of the ramp. Because I think all now have a naloxone box, which we have, which is kind of how we started, which has a couple doses of Narcan kind of stuck away discreetly somewhere within the library. But we've taken it
Right.
beyond.
So it's visible.
Exactly.
So how I spend my winter. Between equipment, it's really everything going on outside and, really is very special thank you to, W.J. Morris Excavating because on really very short notice, they did an exceptional job of taking care of us and cleaning out the piles, as you know, they weren't melting. And we were losing more and more parking spots, and we do not have a contract with them. This is just a relationship we've developed over time. Although it didn't hurt last year, I brought out a pot of coffee to his guys who. This was a Thursday and they already had 55 hours in. And they're working 7 or 6 days a week. So they hadn't even worked a full day yet, and they already had 55 hours. They took care of us, and the next morning I called, just to remind them about, I need to, get the bill and everything, or that was Monday, excuse me. And they were working on a water main break somewhere up off of Broadway for the city, but, yeah, they do exceptional work. They actually came early, which surprised me, and they were out early. We towed only 4 vehicles out of 9. And only when we absolutely had to, we gave them all extra time. And we did an act of kindness, over on this side of the lot. Someone from Missouri, was parked and hadn't moved their vehicle, but the operator had enough room to come through in two directions so he could load his truck and. So I asked him, I said, what do you think? He goes, I have enough room. So we didn't tell him. I left a nice little note saying, you have received our act of kindness. When we get to the north end, there's not that much space, it's a lot tighter and a lot harder and, they did a phenomenal job. They were literally out of here in 4.5 hours. And it was great. We actually had a much larger than expected program here in the community room, and they benefited because now we had all this parking. So, other than that, I was hoping to have a quote, for our fire protection panel update along with Don's security system. We were hoping to get that by the end of last week, but they came back in on Thursday and did some more looking at some of the component sections. And I'm hoping to have that by the end of this week. So that can be handed over for the budget. You all heard the brush piece last board meeting, so it was a little out there ahead of things, and guys love it. We're definitely saving a lot of salt. So I don't know if there's any questions. Comments? All right.
Kelly's not here, and then we have her appointment under new business. Don't have any special reports. Unfinished business. Okay. New business.
We need to appoint, this cleaner.
Pardon?
Do we need to appoint?
Yeah, we do, it's under new business on the.
Oh.
Well, we can do that, pleasure.
We can just do it now.
I move to appoint Shauna Quinn, cleaner operations. Part-time.
Second. Next up, we have the draft 2026 election budget voting calendar.
So we're getting into that time of year, we're thinking about budgets for the upcoming April. Budget vote and trustee election, we have 2 trustees whose terms are expiring. In June, Frank and Carol. The petitions to be on the ballot in April will be available at the beginning of March. So I don't know what the intentions are. Frank and Carol plan to run again, or
We'll have to talk to them.
okay. But just so you know, one thing that we will want to get on the budgets, we need to make up the budget available to the public about a month before the election, so prior to the or before the 9th of April. So we'll want to have somewhere within the next probably few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, or within the next month, the budget workshop, which has not been done. And whether it be like this time on Monday evening between regular meetings.
But we have, should that this Monday.
Done that
That's what we've done in the past.
What's question?
Do we want to do the budget workshop on Monday night? Is that for everybody, or should we look for?
It's fine with me.
So you mean the sixth? Talking April, March or April?
We probably want to do it if we need to make the budget available to the public.
Right,
I think we want to have it before the,
April.
yeah, by the 9th, so I would say either the 9th or well, the 9th is the March board meeting, right? So maybe the 16th of March.
Sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
We want to do our same time, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
So what we're saying, the 16th?
That's fine.
If that works for everybody.
Yeah.
Anything else on that? I think we should discuss. Okay. And
So
then,
we are in the process of soliciting input from staff about things that might be beyond the scope of what would fall into a regular budget if there are special projects. That people are interested in this, in having considered.
and then we are having needs assessment report.
And that's just there for your information.
Anything else, moving to the executive session,
And Rick, can you stick around for that?
motion to adjourn into the executive session.
I make a motion. to adjourn.
Thank you.